Guten Tag, hello. That's literally all I know in terms of hello for languages. To everybody in today's live stream, hope you're all doing well. It is 10:20 on the dot in the UK right now, and we are not panicking because if you didn't know already, it isn't a 11 a.m. deadline. Like usual, we have no lunchtime kickoff. I don't know what is going on with the Premier League right now, why they have not scheduled a lunchtime kickoff. It's a bit boring, but we do have a delayed, obviously, kickoff. And that means that we are going to have a 1:30 p.m. UK time deadline. So if you've just tuned in right now, maybe you're just getting out of bed, maybe you've walked the dog, maybe you've done the shopping, and you're on here right now panicking about your team, I'm here to tell you you don't need to panic because one, the deadline is like, 3 hours away? And two, I am here to try and help you out as best as I possibly can. So as you could probably see from the title, I have activated my free hit. There is going to be some people in the comments that 100% are going to be saying, Nacho, what are you doing? One, you're a sheep. Two, you don't need to free hit. I'm hopefully going to be here just to tell you exactly why I decided to free hit this week. And if you're in a bit of a decision right now what to do, hopefully we can help you the best possible way. The best way you can help me is dropping a like on the stream, always massively appreciated. But at the end of the day, if it's rubbish and it's offering no value, do not be liking this stream because you don't have to. So you see who's in the chat right now. I can see Ollie in the chat. As always, my friend, hope you're doing well. Immortal Technique, as always, hope you're doing well, mate. Luca, Jonah, John, hope you're doing well. Ahmed, Sash is 6:20 in the Caribbean right now. Oh my days. Honestly, southwest England is miserable this morning. It is just rain. I walked the dog in wellies and a coat. I do not want to know what the weather's like right now in the Caribbean because it certainly is going to make me depressed, to say the least. Johnny, hope you're doing well. 11:20 p.m. in New Zealand, so literally the opposite ends of the world right now, which is pretty cool to see. Hope we're doing well, Johnny. Fair play for staying up for this stream at this time, but please do not let me keep you up. If you need to get a question in and go to bed, I'll make sure I prioritize it because I appreciate it is late for you where you are. Sash, hope we're doing well. Good having these late kickoffs for us after a Friday night of getting hammered. Yes, for me, I would say those days are beyond me, but honestly, I never used to get hammered because I can have 2 drinks and then my eyes go bloodshot and it's game over for me. But hopefully you had a good night out yourself. Constanastias? I cannot pronounce that. I do apologise, my friend. Deban, hope you're doing well. London is miserable too here, says JS Daniels. Yes, it is miserable everywhere in the UK right now. Anybody that's playing football, myself included, hopefully it's a little bit cheerier later. Thankfully, I'm playing 4G pitch later, so it won't be horrid. Deban said 3:30 p.m, 3:50 p.m. in India as well. It's awesome to see everyone in the world right now tuning in the different time zones, of course. It is pretty... always a bit surreal, really. So, what are we here for? We're not here to talk about time zones in the world, of course. We're here to talk about our FPL teams. So, the agenda today, first and foremost, answering your questions. That's the most important thing. Any niche questions, get them in the chat because I'll be covering off the big topics and that really sometimes isn't going to address the questions that you have specifically. So, please do put them in the chat. Please don't try and spam the chat. But if I have missed your question, just give me a little nudge and I will try and come to it. We always try and do a bit of chat, then we'll do a big topic, back to the chat, vice versa, vice versa. Otherwise, we're not going to cover off the main things. So let's just get through some of the early questions first and foremost. And I've put a poll in about chip usage. If you are using a chip, if you're not using a chip, please do let me know. I want to get a bit of an understanding of what's everyone doing. Because in the FPL community, in this bubble, it does feel like everybody's free hitting, but sometimes you actually go a bit wider and you look at it and sometimes it's only 10% of the game that's doing something, but it feels like 100 on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. So Ollie's asking, he's really debating this Palmer versus Salah for free hit. Yes, so for anybody that's missed it, Cole Palmer is back and available for selection against Arsenal. Now for me, it's a bit of a no-brainer. You don't pick Palmer. I think Palmer probably does get significant minutes against Arsenal. And he's kind of one of those players that I look at that think he's got literally no body fat whatsoever, like most professionals. But he just looks like one of those guys that once he's available, he will just crack on and play. Kind of that Bruno Fernandes-esque kind of type player. However, he's up against the best defence in Europe right now. Probably the best team in Europe. And I just don't think Palmer is a debate. I don't think you have to include him. And I would say even for game week 14, if he gets decent minutes against Arsenal, he's then suddenly a huge rotation risk. I don't see a world where he starts in game week 13 and then a few days later, or whatever many days later, starts in game week 14 against Leeds away. I think it's one or the other. I don't think Palmer is a fantastic pick for a free hit. And also I'm going to say Salah is the biggest punt ever on a free hit. However, if I had to choose one, it would be Mo Salah personally. Luca, do I free hit if I have double City already? I have triple Palace, double Bournemouth, Saka, Minter, Virgil, and I made triple captain Haaland and just do Gui to Thiago to cover Brentford. Absolutely. If you're sat there right now with Thiago, Virgil van Dijk, where people are picking Liverpool, you've got triple Man City already, and you've got some decent matchups. I mean, even in Dyer against Newcastle, who are notoriously quite poor away from home, I'm not against that at all. I think a triple captain there, the transfer Thiago is perfectly fine. The one thing I will say to you, Luca, is just take a look at your team in future weeks. Thiago, remember, the following week has Arsenal. The week after that has got Spurs. Just take a look at that and ask yourself, ooh, even though Thiago looks great for this week, is it going to hinder me in future weeks? Just be cautious of that. Jonah's saying Watkins or Isak as a third attacker on free hit. Well, if we are getting the understanding right now that Ekitike is a doubt, I do think Isak is quite a nice pick. However, try building a free hit team with Haaland, Salah, Isak. With those price points, you're making a lot of sacrifices. So for that reason, it probably then would be Ollie Watkins. But is Marlon right now the better pick? Possibly, but of course I appreciate he is a midfielder. Ray or Henderson, to start this week, I personally would be leaning towards maybe Henderson. Maybe I'm a Chelsea fan and a little bit bullish, and maybe I'm a little bit delusional, but I might lean towards Henderson of the ones there. Just make sure I'm not missing any chat before we come into some of the usual stuff. Devante here, Nacho, pick 2, Ashade, Semenyo, Gakpo for game week 13 free hit. Okay, so look, if you're free hitting this week, personally, I'm always going to say go against the grain, and it's going to be Ashade and Gakpo. And what I mean by go against the grain, not the other free hitters, but what's popular in FPL right now. Gakpo and Ashade's ownership is pretty low, and there's a reason for that. Semenyo is just a better pick over the course of the season. But for a one game week punt, I quite like going a bit different with Sade and Gakpo and avoiding Semenyo. But look, if Semenyo steps up, scores a brace, he is going to absolutely decimate all of these free hits. I'm going to be honest with you. All it takes this game week, and these are all absolutely viable things, is Palace to beat Man United, clean sheet and a Mateta goal, Saka to score and a clean sheet for Arsenal, and Semenyo scoring. If that happens, I don't care what happens on a free hit, it is going to be almost impossible to outscore that combination, which a lot of teams are moving away from. But with that being said, let's just put up some of the market odds right now. So a huge shout out to Rob T, who is now working alongside Solio Analytics. This was a go-to on the stream last season. I appreciate that, of course. I haven't reached out to Rob T for this information, so I hope he doesn't mind me sharing it. But I always think if you're putting out great work, you want more eyes to see it. So please do check out Solio Analytics, Rob T over on Twitter X, wherever you do consume your addiction on social media. But these are the most updated odds. This is from the 29th. So this is from today, this morning. And I just want to lean into maybe a few reasons if you are free hitting or not, where the market thinks the goals and the clean sheets are going to come from. So first up, let's take a look at the teams that are predicted to score the most goals. And you can see them highlighted in the darkest blue, going down to a lighter blue, and then basically just no colour whatsoever. So Man City 2.51. So if you're triple captain in Erling Haaland, delicious. But also, if you are free hitting, that's fantastic. We speak about how Erling Haaland dominates all of the XG, and he does. But do I also think there is enough here to think that there could also be some contributions from other Man City players? 100%. So straight away, I think Man City are an incredible pick for both triple captain and, of course, for a free hit. And you're going to triple up on them. Villa, 1.91 expected goals in this game, or projected goals. Good. And again, not a huge ownership for Aston Villa players. So I do think a Rodgers, a Watkins, and Marlon are nice picks for your teams. Same applies to Liverpool. Whatever you think about Liverpool, they are still accumulating chances. They had it midweek against PSV. They had it the previous week, of course, where they lost. They are still getting chances. They are clearly just not playing well and actually converting those chances. You now have to be the judge on whether you think Liverpool are going to win this game against West Ham, who, even though they drew against Bournemouth, anyone that watched that game will know Bournemouth had plenty of chances to win that game quite comfortably in the second half. So do I think West Ham have the players and the ability to shut up shop against Liverpool? I personally don't. Hence why I'm including them in my free hit team. And the other team is going to be Brentford at 1.98. Again, Thiago very popular, but also the investment in Kevin Schade is picking up a lot of traction. So when we compare that to some of the popular teams that are being owned, first up, Crystal Palace. Palace versus Man United. If you take a look at the market odds, 1.56 projected goals for Palace, 1.31 for Man United. So could Crystal Palace bag some goals? Absolutely. But we also need to take into the account same factors for Aston Villa, that they played Thursday night and they're coming into a midday kickoff on Sunday. You've got to bring in your own opinions into this situation. And for me, I think that is going to be a trickier game than what others are thinking. I think Man United have actually been okay. We were talking about how Man United are suddenly back under Amorim. They have one poor performance against Everton in the last 6, and now everyone's talking about how Palace are going to spank Man United 4-0. I'm very much looking at it as a general picture, a bit more of an overview, and I think that I personally think that there is going to be a closer game that others are predicting there. Then we also have to look at Chelsea-Arsenal. 1.4 projected goals for Arsenal, 1.14 for Chelsea. So those were Enzo, João Pedro, Saka. We're looking at maybe a low-scoring game here. So you can see why there is an attraction to free hit in Game Week 13. The market odds are for teams that people don't own. And also the market odds for those that people do own are lower considerably this week. If we look at the clean sheet odds as well very quickly, Villa, City and Brentford, 43%. Who owns Man City, Villa and Brentford defenders? Very few people, let alone a combination of all of them. Then if we take a look at the ones that are highly owned, Palace at 27%, Arsenal at 32% and Liverpool at 30% alongside some others. I personally think Arsenal could easily clean sheets in that game alongside Crystal Palace, but is there an opportunity to take it on? There absolutely is. So that is the reason why people are going down this route. And also when you look at the projected FPL points, Haaland, Salah, Foden, Thiago, O'Reilly, Schade, all these really popular players. And then we come into the ones that are in a lot of normal teams, Saka, Bruno Fernandes, Ndiaye. These boys could easily do well. But I think the opportunity is there to use a Game Week 13 free hit. The other thing I want to quickly show you is going to be a little bit of a comparison. So when we actually look at the fixtures, I'm just going to quickly run through maybe here. If you take a look at your screens here, and hopefully I can zoom in a little bit more because my eyesight is so bloody bad that I can't even read that. So if I can't read it, it's not going to be that very beneficial for you guys. So remember, you've got to use your chips between game weeks now and game week 19 effectively. So free hit this season is so different to previous seasons. In previous seasons, you used it in a blank game week and you used it in a double game week, and that was it. And it was very easy to build your free hit team because you either done it in a blank and you picked 5 teams and you just went there. This season, unless something crazy happens, we are going to have to play our free hit in a single game week. So no matter what you think, every single game week, you are going to be having a okay team and you're going to be going against some popular players. That is just the way that is happening this season, unfortunately, and you have to kind of accept that. So for those that are maybe a little bit like, oh, you can't take on Semenyo or Arsenal defence or you're just going to have that in every single week. So look, Game Week 13 is obviously the popular week. Game Week 14 is midweek. If you think you can predict the teams, crack on, do it in Game Week 14. I think there's some upside. Liverpool have Sunderland, Man United have West Ham, Newcastle have Spurs, Arsenal have Brentford. Some good fixtures. I personally don't think I could predict the midweek fixture lineups. Then Game Week 15, a few days later. The big thing with Game Week 15, of course, it's the last time to use your transfers before they give us a top up to 5 in Game Week 16. So if you're sat there with 3 transfers in Game Week 14, you got to use them all in Game Week 14 because then you got a free hit in 15 if you're on that strategy to benefit from the top up in 16. For me, I want to use all my transfers as 15 rather than midweek 14 because I have no idea what I want to buy in 14. Then Game Week 16 is the big one that people are deliberating. If I show you this right now, the ones in green are the ones that I personally would target. So this week, Brentford, City, Villa, and of course, Liverpool against West Ham. And I would take on the Palace fixture and the Chelsea-Arsenal fixture. If you look at game week 16, you probably target Chelsea against Everton, but do I think that's a tricky fixture? Yes. You target Liverpool, Brighton, but do I think personally Brighton step up in big games? Yes, I do. I think that's a tricky game personally. Of course, Arsenal Wolves is a game to target, but I ask the question, are you not already going to have triple Arsenal by this time? Most people will. So you're not really benefiting from the Arsenal. I think you've got to take on Man City against Palace with Erling Haaland. And everybody's saying to me, you know, you're taking on Arsenal, you're taking on Semenyo. Well, game week 16, you probably got to take on Haaland, which is scarier, trust me. And then you've got Brentford Leeds, very similar to that of Brentford and Burnley. And then you probably got to take on the Man United game. I personally don't look at game week 16 and think that is a fantastic week for a free hit, personally. I'm going to be honest with you. And then if we come back to the actual fixtures, then afterwards, 17, you've probably used all your transfers, or you're going to start to use transfers. Don't really know what 17 looks like. 18 and 19 is just the wild, wild west. I just have no idea what's going to happen around that period. But you can wait till then if you want to. What I'm trying to say is this. Every single week's going to be scary to use a free hit. The reason why I'm doing it this week is just because there are teams with really good numbers this week from teams that nobody owns and players that I'm never going to own again. That is why I'm free hitting myself. I apologise for rambling, but I just wanted to kind of go through the reason behind it, because I think a lot of people are asking about it. And now I've done that, we can go into a free hit team and importantly answer your questions as well. But hopefully that was a bit of detail on that sort of situation. So actually, mate, I'm at the stage where I get hammered in 2 drinks. Yes, I'm exactly the same. Thomas saying, let's see your free hit teammate. Lol, is Grey. Grey, what does that mean, Grey? John, I'm on a free hit. My only dilemma is, should I put any Liverpool players in my free hit team? Got 3 Villa, 3 Brentford, and 3 City. So just Liverpool or not. So John, this is the big thing for me, and it's quite an important factor. If you look at the games here, really, why have you free hitted if you're not going to include Liverpool? I was quite strong in this opinion. For me, if you don't back Liverpool, I think there's an argument not to free hit, because I think you could have made a transfer to bring in some Man City, and then it is what it is with Villa, and you could bring in Thiago. If I look at the rest of the teams, really, if you're not going to go Liverpool, I think you're probably going to go Arsenal and just hope that they continue to be dominant in all games. So for that reason, if you're going to avoid Liverpool, I think then you're probably having to go for Arsenal defence, and then maybe change one of your defenders that you own into a Marlon or something like that at Aston Villa. Q8 is 1:23 p.m. in the world as well. JS, can you do a no Salah free hit team? What can you do with the extra budget? Yeah, I could definitely do that in a bit, my friend, no problem. Gibbs White and free hit. I think there's enough doubt right now. Please let me know in the comment section if I missed anything on Gibbs White. But the last time I looked, I thought it was a position where it sounded like he was touch and go. Triple captain time, yes. I think triple captain is the best week, just a heads up. Like, really, who is the player that we're trusting for triple captain this season? Is Erling Haaland. If we look at the fixtures, Leeds at home, fantabulous. 14, no, I don't like it. 15, I actually don't mind Sunderland at home. I think Sunderland are good. Do I think Sunderland are actually an amazing team? No, I still fancy Haaland to bag against Sunderland. But of course, it is only a few days after a midweek fixture. Palace, of course, no in game week 16. Game week 17 at home against West Ham is great. I think that is a standout fixture for triple captain. The other 2 I would avoid. Really, after that, who are the players that we trust the captaincy? No one's going to own Mo Salah. They're just not, because he's going to African Cup of Nations in game week 16. So it's probably, if Cole Palmer becomes fit and available and we suddenly trust him, you could maybe go for triple captain in game week 16 at Everton, but I doubt it. Then you're asking the question, do you go for an Arsenal defender? Well then, if that's the case, I think game week 14, triple captain against Brentford's good. Game week 16 is the standout with Wolves at home. So I think if you haven't used your triple captain yet, I think it's either going to be an Arsenal player in game week 16, whether that be a defender or an attacker, or it's going to be Erling Haaland in game week 17. But if you're not using a chip this week and you have your triple captain available, I would get it done this week on Erling Haaland. Do not overthink it. The numbers are fantastic. 7.7 projected FPL points based on solo analytics here. I just think it's a no-brainer. Triple captain is a little bit overrated as well, to be honest. I think it's quite an overrated chip. Am I going O'Reilly on your draft? He's definitely a starter. And what about goalie? Thinking Martinez. Yes, I will come into my free hit now, I think. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. You're going to hate me because it is just template. It is just bloody template. And I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. But is it actually locked in yet? No, it isn't. So you can see the team here. And guys, like I said, I'm just going to apologize because I get it. If I was watching a content creator, doing stuff on a stream, I'd want to tune in and be like, come on, man, do something a bit spicy, do something a little bit different. But unfortunately, I just don't see where the upside is outside of the team that I have built here. So let me just show you it a little bit better. I mean, we could talk about some alternative options. So players that are locked in for me right now is going to be Thiago and Haaland, of course. Mo Salah. I've just made my bed with Mo Salah. I'm just going to sleep in it. I'm just going to go for Mo Salah and just hope for the best and pray that they do just outscore West Ham. They just outscore them and Salah gets involved. And when we actually look at Salah's numbers here, if you take a look at Mo Salah's numbers, yes, he's been pretty dreadful. He's been awful. But Mo Salah never looks good on the eye. 0.51 expected goal involvement against Forest. 0.6 against City, 0.35 against Villa, 0.74 against Brentford. If you come down to the per 90 minutes, trust me, this is not Mo Salah levels of old. But still, 0.48 expected goal involvement per 90 minutes. Trust me, it's not good. But on a free hit, where I'm not looking to buy Salah long term, I'm just looking for a one game week punt, I think Salah's an okay pick. He's an okay pick. Do I buy him long term? Absolutely not. Now, in terms of Gakpo, this is the one that I'm really on the fence with right now. His numbers, 0.55 expected goal involvement per 90, is not too bad. Of course, they're playing away from home. When he's played away from home against Burnley, 0.53, solid. Pretty poor against Palace. Decent against Chelsea, of course. Brentford, good numbers, 0.52. City, tough game, obviously got bopped. But I do think the West Ham fixture is not a bad one at all for Liverpool. And I think Cody Gakpo's minutes are going to be good. If you look at him here, 90, 34 obviously against City, but then 90, 60, 90, 90, 45, 60, 90. An injury to Ekitike. Looks like Wirtz isn't going to be fully fit. I personally think Gakpo probably gets 70 minutes minimum, which I'm pretty content with going for Gakpo. So if I just read out the rest of the team right now, I've gone for the double Villa of Martinez and Matty Cash. I think Marlon could still make an appearance to this team if I go a bit cold on Gakpo. But then I probably am doing Gakpo to Marlon, and then I'm investing in probably Danny Munoz in defence, possibly. And I might take Cash out, or, we take Martinez out and we put somebody else in. But I do think the 3 Villa is currently where I'm leaning towards. In terms of Man City, that's the big one. O'Reilly, Foden and Haaland are currently my triple up. I do think Doku is a really good pick and is somebody in the back of my mind. But do I also think O'Reilly is a real great upside pick? I think he is. I think firstly, Man City do keep a clean sheet. I'm just doing that based on my own opinion and obviously the numbers. So straight away, let's say that locks in a 6-pointer. If he does contribute in the final third, and we've got to remember he's got 1 goal, 2 assists, and he's offering 0.21 expected goal involvement per 90 is really solid. I think that's good. I think he plays 90 minutes. Whereas Doku could easily play 60, 65 and maybe just get an assist. I could see that as well. So I think O'Reilly, Foden and Haaland is the route that I want to go for. Now, of course, the Brentford triple up kind of picks itself. I think it's Thiago, I think it's Sade, and I think it's Van den Berg. I do think there are other options. I'm going to be honest. If you're pulling your hair out over a Brentford defender, I just think you've got too much time. I'm going to be honest. I think if you're ripping your hair out over Van den Berg versus Collins versus Coyote, I just think pick one and just go for it. One of them is probably going to score a Thunder Bastard or a header, and you cannot predict it. It just is how it is. I don't really lose sleep over things like that. It's just not worth it. And then outside of that, we got Richards on the bench as a first sub backup. So as of right now, I'm pretty much locked in on this team. I'm just not really going to overthink it. I know it's super template, but I don't want to be different when I think a free hit in the context of the game is different enough. So yes, loads of people are free hitting this week within the FPL community, but trust me, in the context of the things in the top 1 million, I don't think the free hit is going to be super popular at all. And I look at the fixtures right now. If we're going to be crazy different outside of what I've picked, you're targeting Brentford, you're probably going for Utara or you're going for Damsgaard. But do I have any confidence in the minutes or the output of both of those? No. So I don't see how I can make an argument for either of those. City, I think, is where you can make the split. You could easily go for Doku. You could easily go for a Cherky. Is that the player I want? Cherky? Absolutely not. He could be incredible, but could he come off after 55 minutes? 100%. And then, of course, Doku is the real upside that I think could be missed out on. Bournemouth, of course, I'm not putting Semenyo in. Once you're committed to the free hit, I'm not putting Semenyo in. It makes no sense whatsoever to free hit and include a highly owned player. I just think you just got to take it on and go all in. Everton, Newcastle, that could be the game, but I don't think there is huge upside in that game. I think Spurs, Fulham could surprise some people, but can I sit here right now and tell you a Spurs player that is good to own? Absolutely not. And then when we look at the Sunday games, we're taking on the Palace Man United game. I'm pretty content of that. I think Palace are a really good team, and I think they're better than Man United, but could I see that being a low-scoring draw? I personally could. And then Villa is what we're taking on, of course. Marlon, the big differential. Forest Brighton could be really tasty. But once again, can I sit here and actually offer up a Forest player to go for? Not really. Brighton, I wouldn't be picking a team away from home against a good Forest team. And this is the big one. I mean, you either go for Liverpool players or you put Saka in. So you're either one of the two managers. You're either going to go Bukayo Saka or you're going to go Mo Salah. I personally don't think Cole Palmer's a good pick. Just coming back from injury, yes, I think he will get okay minutes, but against the best defence in Europe, it makes no sense to me whatsoever to put in Cole Palmer. So I think really the team kind of picks itself. Realistically, I've got a bit of money in the bank. I might as well actually put someone in who does play. So for example, let me upgrade Achiampong to maybe Mukiele if I could afford. I can't afford Mukiele. Who else can I afford? Probably like a Sunderland player in defence. Anyone cheap? Is Alderete back? No, he's not been playing. Ronaldo? He'll come in. We'll put him in. He's played the last 4. He actually does play as opposed to, what's it called? Achiampong. Because if this team, you can make mistakes like this. If you don't actually put a player who doesn't play, you could bite you. You might as well put someone in who does play. Let me just check if there's anyone else a minute. Super cheap who plays minutes. Needs to be 4.1 million or less. Rodon, terrible fixture. I'd obviously rather have the other one. If we organise it by price a minute, it'll come down to the 4.1s. Wan-Bissaka's 4.2. What the hell? Literally none of those play for their respective teams. No. Okay. So we'll make that transfer a minute. Because it just makes a lot of sense. And we'll go like that. Cool. So that's how we're looking. Go roast me in the comments and let me come back to the chat and go through some things. And then we'll go through my team in the upcoming weeks. And Dial Gakpo to start this week. Look, if you've got Gakpo, I think you've got to go there. Bench in Ndiaye, Sarr or Caicedo. Caicedo will get defensive contributions 100%. But I think I would play on the upside of Ndiaye and Sarr. Ndiaye on penalties, Sarr just a nice pick. Doku or Foden, I'm currently leaning towards Foden. I did have a kind of thing going through Man City players. I'll try and get it up later. A bit of a comparison on the two in terms of their numbers. But I'm just leaning towards Foden. That's all right now. Doku or Rodgers, I think I would go for... As a 1 week punt, I probably would go for Doku. What do you think of Gravenberch as a pick? Do not like it at all. Do not like that at all. Start Vandenberg or Calaflori/Saliba. I have double Arsenal defence. Well, I think Van de Ven then probably would be the route I would go for. But at the same breath, if you're already starting an Arsenal defender, I probably would just go all in and just back them. So I would probably go all in on Arsenal, play the double, and if they do keep the clean sheet, you're absolutely killing it, basically. West Ham have conceded the most chances to centre mid. Okay, that's fair. But I don't know if... I think Sir Bosley would be the one then, if that is the case. What's your thoughts on Villa players given Wolves fixture is a derby? Yep, I think Villa are a huge, risky team. Played obviously midweek. Could easily be fatigued. Thankfully, they did rest some players or took them off early. But yeah, that could be a tasty game. But do I think Wolves right now are at a level where they can step up and deliver in a derby? I don't think they are. I just don't know if they are. I don't know if Rob Edwards is a guy who, like Sean Dyche, is happy just to shut up shop. I don't know too much about him, to be honest. Best goalkeeper under 4.7, and I'd probably go for Kelleher if that's the case then. I think the numbers are good for, obviously, Brentford this week. Hate captaining players versus Leeds, as I'm a Leeds fan. Any suggestions this game week to go against the robot or too risky? Too risky. I know you're a Leeds fan, but I think it's too risky this week. There's going to be so much triple captaincy. So, for context, if you're captaining Erling Haaland this week, I wouldn't be surprised if you want him to blank, because the triple captains are going to be quite high, and if it takes him over the 200% ownership, you then don't want him to do well, basically, because every point is going to be negative against you, and the way of going above 200% is by people triple captaining. So if you avoid Haaland altogether, if you just captain him, you're going to have the smallest dent on your rank, the smallest. If you don't captain him at all, and Haaland bags a hat-trick, like, I honestly think, I wouldn't go as far as saying, like, that's season over, because it wouldn't be, but if Haaland bagged a hattie in a week where he's over 200% ownership and your captain doesn't deliver, oh my God, that is going to be so painful. I think it's too risky, my friend. Is Harvey Barnes worth a punt in a free hit? Despite Newcastle's away form, torn between him and Gakpo. Yeah, I mean, Harvey Barnes, fantastic, obviously, against Man City. I just don't trust Newcastle away from home. Do I trust Liverpool at all? Absolutely not. Let's just put it out there. I don't trust Liverpool at all. But I think if you're free hitting, you've got to go Liverpool. You've got to go Liverpool. Semenyo to Foden, I don't love long term. I don't love it long term. I think Semenyo could easily outscore Foden. Do you think it's better to get Timber on free hit or Sade? Because if Timber does well, I don't want to fall behind as most people have him in the team. Yeah, so can I just put it out there? Obviously, what I've been proposing with a free hit is that you go really big. You go big against the grain. You take on all of the big ownerships, because let's just put it out there right now. And sorry, just to answer your question, yes, if you're playing mini league and you know that your people you're up against aren't free hitting, one way you could look at it is like, stuff it. Let's just go all in. I'm going to take on what they own, and it's either going to be the biggest risk or reward ever. But if you have that slight doubt in your head and you're like, you know what, I kind of fancy Arsenal to keep a clean sheet, and if I go against them and everyone owns them, it's going to be negative for me, I would just have that peace of mind, put one in. You can sleep easy at night knowing that you have that in your team. I have to say, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I'm not a good guy to talk to, because I obviously will be backing my boys to upset Arsenal this week. So let me just quickly show you what this free hit is actually taking on this week. Like, just for a little bit of context, because everybody's talking about how the free hit's good. Trust me, I am very skeptical of it. I'm very, very skeptical of it. But as I discussed at the start of the stream, you have to play your free hit in a single game week unless some sort of freaking nature happens that creates a double or a blank game week. So in previous seasons, we've been able to play a free hit very, very easily, because if there's only 5 fixtures, you know who to pick. Free hit this week, you got to take on some people, and it's going to be the case in 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So you just got to live with it. But when you look at the ownerships, oh boy, are we taking risks. So the goalkeeper is what it is, but you need to know you are taking on that Arsenal defence in general. Raya 31% owned. Huge. Then we come to the defenders. If you're going without Palace defence, you're taking on Gehi at 34% owned and Munoz at 22%. So that's tasty. Van de Ven, I know he's 33% owned, but I think everybody's taking on Van de Ven most weeks unknowingly. I don't think people know he's that highly owned. Then it's the Arsenal defence. Timber at 30%. Gabriel obviously not playing, but then we've got Calaflori at 14%. So it's basically Raya and Timber that hurts you from an ownership perspective in that Arsenal team. Virgil van Dijk, 25%. It will just be typical if you don't go with him in your free hit, and this is the week that he delivers the big header from a corner and the clean sheet and the defensive contribution. So I do still think Virgil van Dijk's okay, but can I personally, off the back of what I've seen, put a Liverpool defender in? I just can't. I just can't do it. I will sleep easy at night with this team, and the fact I haven't got Virgil van Dijk, it is what it is. Then we got Senesi at 25%. Again, another player that will kill you if he does well. Then we come to the midfielders. Semenyo. Well, you're not going to own him probably in a free hit. He could kill you this week. Mbeumo, another perfect example of a player. Then outside of that, Saka really is the one that's going to hurt you. Otherwise, I don't think it is. Then you look at the forwards. João Pedro, I'm not worried about. He's against Arsenal. But Mateta, like, all he has to do is have a great week against Man United, and that is going to absolutely destroy your free hit. So, are we sleeping easy at night with this free hit? Absolutely not. But you know you got to take some on. But let me try and go through some of the chat a minute. Surely Slot can't change anything to sort Liverpool out in the short term. And I agree. I do agree. I don't think he can sort this team out at all. I don't think he can sort it out. I'm going to be honest. But do I think that like they can just score against West Ham, who are conceding a lot of chances? Yeah, I do think they can. How do you feel about Richarlison? Oh, and by the way, that's why kind of like I quite like the free hit, because what a lot of people are doing this week, if they're not free hitting, is they're buying into Villa or Man City or Thiago or these sort of players. But do I actually think I love the picks as a transfer? Not really, I'm going to be honest. So like a lot of people are buying Matty Cash as an example, but like I love him for this week. Absolutely love Matty Cash for this week for his fixture against Wolves. But do I like him for... Sorry, you can't even see this on your screens. Let's put this up. So Villa, loads of people are buying Cash this week, for example. Do I like him for this fixture? Absolutely. Do I like him for Brighton, Arsenal, West Ham away, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal? Absolutely not. So it's a reason why the free hit kind of works in your favour as well. Same kind of applies with Thiago. Do I love him for this week? Yes. Do I like him for Arsenal and Spurs? Not really. But then he comes good again in game week 16. We also then look at, City. I think City are a great buy. But do I have it in my gut right now to confidently sit here and say to you, Doku is my boy. He's going to be the one that I want to own each and every week? Not really. But is he the guy I want to own this week? Yes. But then Fulham away? And then Sunderland? Do I know who's going to play those games? Absolutely not. Then it's Palace away. I just don't see enough upside there to want to buy these players. But for game week 13, very easy to just bring him in as a 1 week punt. Kind of the reasoning behind why I am doing it myself. Triple captain Haaland, game 17, definitely. Yep, I think that's a great shout. Saka isn't nearly as consistent as Haaland this year, or Salah, agree on that one. Bench 2 out of Ekitike, Evan Nielsen and Calaflori. Bench 2 of Ekitike, Evan Nielsen and Calaflori. I would say Ekitike, and I'd probably play Calaflori. I think. Change Gakpo for Mateta for me. Yeah, but of course Gakpo being a midfielder would change a few things in the structure of the team. But yeah, I know what you mean. Gakpo down to a cheap enabler and then improve to Mateta. And Dial Gakpo to start. I'd probably go for Gakpo if you own. What was your preferred differential to O'Reilly? Nunez or Vardial? I think probably Nunez. I think Nunez in that case. Yeah, agree. The template differential is still... Sorry, the template free hit is still differential. I do agree on that one. Triple captain Haaland versus Leeds or West Ham. I think if you have a triple captain available and you're not using it this week, just get it done this week. I think that's a pretty easy play this week. I think Marino is a super differential. Yeah, if you want to go there, absolutely not a problem at all. What do you think of swapping Martinez to Kelleher and Vandenberg to Munoz? Don't mind it. I think there's a lot of upside in that move. But of course, you're moving away from Aston Villa. But again, for example, let's just do what you mentioned. So that to Kelleher. And then we've got too much from there. But obviously, we're taking that out and we're going to Danny Munoz. But that's 5.9 million, remember. So I would have to free up 0.8 million in this team in order to fund that. So I can't do it from Richards, for example, but I might be able to squeeze everything out if that went down to Achiampong. And then is there a 5.8 million defender in the game? Sorry, 3.8. Let's have a look. Does the 3.8 million defender exist? Yes, it does. Let's just put, don't even know, Pivas in. So you could do this. Kelleher, Munoz, but you literally don't have a bench, so you are praying your team plays. Be interested to know what you guys think there. You are, of course, moving away from double. So ask a question. Sorry, I don't know why I read that. Ask a question. I'm going to ask you guys a question in the poll. So, which combo? Which combo? We're going to go for Martinez. Press auto pick Bristol. Bristol? Are you from Bristol? Let me know if you're from Bristol. Martinez, VDB is Vandenberg, and who's the other one I had? Martinez, Vandenberg. That was it, wasn't it? And like a dead spot. No, what was it? That was it. Martinez and Vandenberg, or would you rather have Kelleher plus Munoz? Let me know in the poll which one. By the way, like the defense will be, the actual bench will be terrible. Bench will be terrible. What should you prefer? Covered that one off. Covered that one off. Covered that one off. So I'm just going through it. Alternative midfielder if you don't have Salah money. If you don't have Salah money, let me know what you mean on that one. If you don't have Salah money. Wolves, Burnley, and Leeds will score. David, how dare you say that? That has cursed my team. Senesi or Burn to start? Probably go for Senesi, to be honest with you. So I'm not reading anything there. I was just actually looking up to think. I haven't got like a teleprompt up there, I swear. Burn is a risk with Tino and Horvat. Yes, great point, Dan. Great point. Shah and Chow, likely centre-back partners. Yep, Dan, I think that's fair. And by the way, can I just check? I'm not getting absolutely like hustled here by somebody. The Newcastle defender, Thiaw. I've been told it's Chow. Am I correct? Or is it like Thor or something? I've heard of Chow. I've been saying Chow for weeks now. And not Chow from Hangover, obviously. Chow, like the Newcastle centre-back. If I have been getting absolutely, hustled by somebody, then I need to have a word with them. Free hit. Marlon, Isak, Cash versus Rogers, Mateta, Munoz. Okay, so Marlon, I think, probably gets 60 or 30. So I think he is high risk, high reward. Isak, I think he probably gets 60 or 30, probably 60. Cash, I really like. I prefer the second option, I'm going to be honest. Eagle Jesus or Gibbs White. Unless we get confirmation that Gibbs White is fit and available, I'm going to be honest with you, I probably would lean towards Eagle Jesus because Chris Wood is still out. But there has been some early substitutions for him. I'm just going to have a look on the old Twitter to see what is going on out there. Just to see. Yeah. I can't see any injury news or anything. So, yeah, that's kind of it right now. I was hoping there might be some information. I can't afford Gakpo in this team. I'm 1 million short. Who can I put in instead? Well, you could go for Szoboszlai if you wanted to as a Liverpool coverage. That's not a problem at all. You could go there. Or you move away and you go for like a Marlon or somebody like that. I think that's absolutely fine if you wanted to go there. Who to bench? Raya, Dubravka. Oh, God, Ronnie, you have absolutely stacked the question here. Let's take a look. So straight out of the bat, obviously to bench Dubravka. Van der Ven, Virgil, Senesi, Munoz. So you're obviously benching Alderete, and I would bench personally. I mean, I probably would bench Senesi of that back line. Gordon, Caicedo, Enzo, Semenyo, and Dye, Welbeck, Haaland, Mateta. Well, look, I think you've got to play a front three there, probably with a 3 there. So I would be benching, controversially, Alderete, Senesi, and probably Caicedo. FPL top bins, easy the most underrated FPL content out there. Top work. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that very much. Who to play, Keane or Senesi? Ooh, I'd play Senesi, I think, just Senesi. Captain Foden, don't mind it, but again, if you're taking on Haaland, oh boy. No, I'm not from Bristol. Bristol is my name. I apologise, mate. I'm going to be honest. I might be incredibly naive. I didn't realise Bristol was a name. That is a quality name. I thought you were from Bristol. Apologies. Is Dango a good pick? Yeah, so a lot of people quite like Dango. I'm going to be honest. I haven't really considered him. Let's just take a look at the numbers. So in terms of expected goal involvement, 0.39. The minutes are okay. A little bit all over the shop, but still fine. Picked up a couple of assists in the last few weeks. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. If we look at Kevin Sade as an alternative, his minutes are a lot more consistent and his expected goal involvement is pretty similar as well. So it's more of a case of in 1 week, you kind of just chuck minutes out of the window. But if there's a player who's consistently coming off around 60 minutes, we do have to factor those things. If the underlying numbers are pretty identical, but also Sade probably plays 90 and Dango plays 65, 70, I'm going to go for the 90-minute man, unless the underlying numbers are just so considerably better than the 90-minute guy. It's kind of the way I'm looking at it this week. Semenyo to Rodgers for a -4. Do not do that. It looks like Semenyo's going to be fine. I would not be making that move. Look at Rodgers after this week. And it's another reason why I don't love... I love free hitting this week, because if you buy Rodgers this week, is it actually a good buy? He's been doing he's done well against Leeds, but I actually think he's quite an overrated pick. Look at that. 0.16 expected goal involvement per 90. I legitimately don't like Rodgers as a pick. But to get a piece of this Villa attack and hopefully get lucky for 1 week, I think is good. Because afterwards, he's got, as you can see on the top right, Brighton and then Arsenal. I don't really like it that much. Why have I picked Foden over Doku? It's a good point. Firstly, by the way, can I just say, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to go for this combo. Like I said, I am not losing sleep at night at all over Van den Berg scoring a header. I'm going to be honest. I'm not losing sleep at all over that. Let's just take a look at his numbers a minute. This is Van den Berg, by the way, on your screens. His expected goal involvement is 0.16. His defensive contributions per 90, this is the big one we need to remember, is basically 9 per 90. How many times has he walked away with more than 6 points? Once. So this isn't a high upside pick. If I'm free hitting, defensive contributions per 90 for Muno, 7.25. Could I see him having a lot of 1v1 duels in a formation that is basically a 1v1, because it's going to be him up against whoever plays left wing back? Yeah, I can see that a lot. So I see a lot of duels for him in that particular fixture. Anybody else who plays a back three here in this system? Not really, to give you a bit of an indication. But expected goal involvement per 90, 0.27. Just a way more exciting pick. And what I will say is this. If we come back to the numbers here, Brentford, a 43% chance of a clean sheet, which is great. But if we are a little bit scared of some ownership, like I said, I'm taking on the Arsenal defence. I'm just good. I'm happy to take it on this week. I'm a Chelsea fan. I think Chelsea are good. I think we've been playing really well. I think Arsenal, if we run the game 100 times, I think Arsenal do beat us 80% of the time. But I think we've got enough in our locker to hurt them. I think we've got enough in our midfield to counteract them. And I think we've got enough in the wide areas to ask the question, okay, cool, Timber, California, you've been good. Let's just see how good you are, sort of thing. And yeah, I think Chelsea could score against Arsenal. Do I think Man United are going to be hindered without Cunha once again? Absolutely. I think they are going to be hindered without him. Do I love double Brentford in defence? Not really. I don't love double Brentford. But do I like double Aston Villa? I do quite like double Aston Villa. That's what I'm missing out on. So the poll that I put in the chat, by the way, was kind of like, didn't have all of the kind of variables. So it's like, it's Kelleher and Munoz. It's Kelleher and Munoz. But if you go down that route, then you don't have double Aston Villa defence. That's something that we have to consider there. Something that we have to consider. So you're losing out on that a little bit as well. That's all. Just checking Twitter to see if there is any sort of update, because I want to make sure I'm not missing out on any team news or anything. Let's just see what's popping. Yeah, I think I'm just going to lock this in for now. The bench is bloody dreadful. I literally have no bench. So I got to hope everybody actually rocks up. Otherwise, I'm down to 11 men, which is a huge problem. It's a big problems. Big problems. Is there any budget I can squeeze out of this team? Not really. I could probably downgrade Dubravka because, like, I think the goalkeeper in Kelleher starts. That would be really unlucky. If we just look at the goalkeepers, is there anyone cheaper than Kelleher? Sorry, cheaper than Dubravka, who plays? No. But I could put a dead spot goalie in, couldn't I? Just to free up a little bit of funds if I need a guy who actually plays. Let's just put in... God knows who. Hang on. I'm just going to put in... I don't even know who to put in. Austin in goal. It just gives me 0.1... And it might allow me to get a 3.9 million defender who actually does play. So like Esteve, for example, could just come in as a backup. That's actually not a bad shout. Let's do Achiampong to Esteve because he actually does play. And then that means we can keep Dubravka between the sticks. And then that makes me sleep a bit easier at night. Just knowing that I've got a guy who can come in worst case. And that's good. So basically, this is the combination. Martinez out to Kelleher, Vandenberg to Munoz, Richards to Esteve, and then Ronaldo to Pivas. Let me just confirm that a minute. And it looks something like that. That's what the team would then look like. I quite like that. I quite like the upside of that. If bloody double Villa is the thing that I'm missing out on, it is what it is. I quite like that upside. I can't put in Voldermarsen because it takes up a Brentford spot. So I then have to get rid of Thiago or Sade, my friend. That's all. Final mid spot, Sarro and Dye. I think I'd play this week. Probably Sar. Double up on Liverpool looks dire. They have not passed the eye test. Absolutely agree on that. I just agree. Like, I totally agree. But when I committed to the free hit, I also committed to rolling the dice once again on Liverpool. Munoz is just so attacking and United defence looks weak, to be honest. Yes, I do agree on that. I've got Estevao. Keep and bench him this week and start him for the Leeds match, which he'll probably start or sell to a City mid. So you're always going to have this problem with Estevao. Maresca is going to continue to protect him, and Palmer being back is also a bit detrimental, it's worth noting, because that is another person that will compete for him on the right hand side, and we all know Palmer is going to get significant game time. So I think if I had owned Estevao, I think he's an absolute baller. I absolutely love him. If I had the money, I probably would go Doku. I think I'll go Doku. I do agree with Ollie though. I think Estevao then plays midweek against Leeds, and then Doku might not play obviously the following game week, so it's a bit of a problem. For those that are wondering, I just want to go through a little bit of a detail on my team a minute, just for future weeks, just to give you a bit of an indication. So this is how my team previously looked before I wildcarded, and as you can see, triple up on Villa, triple up on Palace, bit of Man United, bit of good stuff in the areas, but all in all, a little bit of a weak team. Obviously, I own Thiago, by the way, which was a bit controversial. I would have benched Enzo, and team looked like this. This team did not need a free hit. I'm going to be honest with you. This team did not need a free hit, but I was happy to take the punt. So going into game week 14, my team is going to look like this. And a reminder that we have a midweek fixtures. Hopefully you can see that on the side. Let me just try and make that a little bit better for you guys. Sorry. I'm sure you can see all those teams now as well. Fingers crossed. So now my team looks like this for game week 14. I think the team picks itself. Obviously, Enzo would come in for probably Thiago, and it would look like this. Now, I've got 2 free transfers, and a reminder, we got to use these by game week 15. So if I don't use them here, I got to use them here. And my game week 15 team looks okay. Nothing amazing. It looks fine. So for game week 14, we look at the fixtures. We ask ourselves, what am I missing? Arsenal. I'm missing Arsenal massively. So if I get a little scared, I think what I probably would have to do is get rid of Ndai, bring in someone like Saka. It would be Saka 100%. And then I need to save 1.7 million. Now, I know it sounds a bit weird, but there is a world where I sell Mateta away against Burnley. If I'm worried about his minutes, then I think selling Mateta makes a lot of sense. We go down to a cheap enabler. Off the top of my head, let's just say we're going to free up all of the funds. We go down to Mark Gu. We would then have to take a little bit of a crap week, I'm going to be honest, and I probably would have to start Thiago, which is not ideal. It comes down to this week all about really how much do I need Arsenal, and do I need them in game week 14? If I do, I look like this, and then in game week 15, if I wanted to, I can use my one transfer to go for somebody who I feel like is quite important. I think my team looks pretty good for this week. Senesi at home against Chelsea, not ideal. I could easily play Anderson. But when I look at the actual fixtures, is there any team I really want to target? Maybe Newcastle if I wanted to go there, but something will come available. Because then in game week 16, we get topped up to the 5 free transfers, and we got Saka in place for the Wolves game, which is really, really important. And, you know, Anderson could come in for the Burnley game, and the team kind of looks like this. That's why I free hitted, because I think my moves are going to become very easy over the next few weeks. And I think I was getting way more upside here. So yeah, right, let's go back to the chat a minute. Sorry, I just wanted to go through that kind of reasoning there on that one. And once again, I just want to take a look on Twitter to see if there's anything online, because I want to make sure I'm not missing anything for you guys. Oh God, that was Burnley's advert there, sorry. Okay, that's fine. Bowen is a differential on free hit. I mean, against Liverpool, I don't mind it. But no, I wouldn't be going for Bowen myself. Love from Kenya, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Nairobi, it is 2 p.m. here. Don't put Liverpool players in. They are losing again. Oh, I don't like the confidence in that. And would I be surprised at all if Liverpool lose once again? No. When are they actually playing? Are they today? Okay, so that's tomorrow, so they can ruin my Sunday, basically. They can ruin my Sunday. All in there. Foden or Gakpo, who should I buy as a free transfer? I would buy Foden over Gakpo myself. Who's the most differential pick you could have this week? I'm going to say Aston Villa's Marlon. I think he's a brilliant differential this week. Craig said, I've got the same free hit team as you, but can't afford Foden. Yes, then Doku is a perfectly fine alternative. I am absolutely fine with that, my friend. In terms of City, just going to see if there's any City news out there, because they are the ones who always get leaked, I'm going to be honest with you. But if there is any leaking, I'm missing it, clearly, because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of the news, if there is any Man City news about leaks or whatever. So I will keep an eye out. I will keep an eye out for that one. Minter or Elliot Anderson in for Reinders? Minter or Elliot Anderson in for Reinders? Tarmate, I think I would go. Let's just get the fixtures up for a reminder. So Brighton have got, I know obviously what they've got this week, but it's afterwards. Why can't I see them there? Villa, West Ham. I don't mind that at all for Minter. Elliot Anderson, good. I think he's got a few more routes to points, but I would chase the upside. I would go Minter myself. Oh, we've got a super chat here from, is it Sian? Thank you so much. So very, very generous on that one. The question is, bench 2, Minter, Bruno Fernandes, Anderson, Rice or Rodgers? Okay, so you have to start Rodgers. I think you have to start Rodgers. Ooh. Ooh. I personally would start Bruno. Definitely start Bruno. So it comes down to Minter versus Anderson versus Rice. I would bench Anderson, and then it comes down to Rice versus Minter. I think Rice will get defensive contributions in this Chelsea game. I think he's still on set pieces, which is great. But I think Minter has the higher upside. So I'm probably going to bench... Don't love it. I was about to say I would bench alongside Anderson Rice. Do I love that? It's Minter or Rice to bench alongside Anderson. If anybody has a strong opinion on that, please do put it in the chat. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't know the answer to it. I'm just going to be honest. I think... I just don't know otherwise. I apologise. Please let me know if anyone has any stronger opinion. If I had to go there, I probably would bench Anderson and Rice and just hope it's a really, really close game between Arsenal and Chelsea. Robert, appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much. Ollie, got the same free hit as you, but got 0.9 million in the bank. Who would you upgrade? You got the same team and you got that much dollar. Ollie, bloody hell. Sometimes you don't have to upgrade. Legit. Sometimes you don't have to upgrade. You could go for double Villa defence if you wanted to. That could be a possible option. Burn as last sub seems a pointless transfer. Burn as last sub seems a pointless transfer. What does that mean, Louis? Sorry, let me know on that one. Any word on Pope Nacho? Tez, I'm not sure on that one. It sounded like Pope was actually a big doubt, wasn't it? I don't know whether the account that shared it was actually the one, though. Was actually like a legit one. Just seeing if there's anything here. Bought Doku and Foden in, so missing City defence, mistake on free hit. No, look, could Man City win 5-1 and Doku and Foden go mental? Absolutely. So yeah, I don't think it's like a big problem avoiding it. I just think O'Reilly's probably the most consistent for minutes. That's all. Any reason for Burn? Last sub and a lot of money. I don't think I've got Burn. It's Pivas on my bench. I have VDV instead of Munoz and Bruno instead of Gakpo. Saying to all the best on that one, Tom. Sounds solid. Start Minter on Enzo. I would start Minter myself, but I know Enzo is on penalties, but I'm just putting out there he's up against one of the best defences in the world. Payment, I'm on free hit going with double Man City defence. Yeah, that's big differential. I quite like it. And triple Brentford attack. 2 questions. 1, Matthews or Diaz for the set? I guess that's Mateus Nunes or Diaz for the second defender. I mean, I don't mind the Mateus Nunes upside. I think he will start. Bench 2 of Cash or Muniz. Have Martinez between the sticks. Is that Munoz? Because I could not be benching Munoz if I owned him. I would just rather not own him on a free hit. Is it Muniz, though? Let me know. That's the Fulham Muniz. He's obviously injured. Anything else, Semenyo? I think he starts, based on what we've heard from Areola. Have a free hit template without free hitting? Pointless for me this game week. Yeah, Tommy, if that's your position, that is absolutely spot on. I think that's a great position to be in. Sarr or Neto on a punt on free hit? Sarr for me. Please help me get rid of my headache. O'Reilly and Dango or Collins and Doku? Boo. I think Dango is like obviously a bit of a risk for minutes, but it looks like he will start. I probably prefer Collins and Doku just myself. My team is Donnarumma, Senesi, Timber, Lacroix, Ndai, Embuemo, Fernandez, Enzo. Should I free hit or triple captain? Well, you've got Man City defense, fantastic. You've got Senesi, Timber, Lacroix, perfectly fine. Oh, it's gone. Okay, let's get this man up to 200 likes. And thank you very much, Tez, on that one. What do you suggest, please? Estevao or Enzo to buy to start? If you're looking to start, it would be Enzo because he may still be the penalty taker if Palmer doesn't get a start. Gabrielle's saying, Gabriella, is it Gabrielle? My team is Donnarumma, Senesi, Timber, Lacroix, perfectly fine. Ndai, Embuemo, Fernandez, Enzo, Semenyo, Haaland, and Mateta. Should I free hit or triple captain? Again, this comes down to your own personal opinion because that team is perfectly fine. And just a heads up, this was my team and I free hitted. So I had a perfectly fine team for this week myself and I decided to free hit. It all comes down to when you think you're going to play your free hit. So the best exercise for you to do is to look at these fixtures and ask yourself, if I'm not free hitting in game week 13, when am I free hitting? Look at game week 14, midweek fixture. Personally, I just didn't want the stress of building a free hit on a Tuesday after work. I'm just putting real life scenarios in our heads right now, okay? So I didn't want that stress on a game week 14. I have no idea who plays midweek. Game week 15 is the last week that you can use up your transfers before game week 16 when they top you up to 5 free transfers. Once again, I didn't want the stress of using a free hit in 15 and then also in my head thinking, but I also want to use my free transfers. Game week 16, of course, is a very popular week for some people. But when I actually looked at them back to back, I personally thought the game week 13 fixtures offered more upside than that of the game week 16s. I'm going to be honest. That was my own personal opinion on that one. Like Newcastle in that derby, I don't really want Newcastle players. I have no idea what is going to go on that game. I think game week 16 is a little bit overrated, I'm going to be honest. And it probably feels a bit more like a hedged free hit. You probably are going to put a lot of highly owned players and sprinkle it with a few others. And then you look at the rest. Game week 17. So you'll have triple City against West Ham. That's great. You'll probably go for triple Bournemouth against Burnley. You will go for triple Brighton against Sunderland. Outside of that, what are you really targeting? Not much. Game week 18, you go triple Liverpool against Wolves. Yes. You'd go maybe triple Arsenal against Brighton, but I think that's tough. You'd go... Don't love it. Then game week 19, triple Liverpool against Leeds, 100%. You'd probably go triple Man United against Wolves. Yes. You'd probably go triple Palace against Fulham. Yes. You'd probably go triple Forest. Yes. Game week 19 is actually not a bad play. Game week 19 is not a bad play. But again, I kind of just wanted to get out of the way. I'm going to be honest. We're all going to have 5 free transfers from game week 16 onwards. So we can kind of build towards all of this sort of stuff afterwards. Just for the context, this is how my team is currently looking. Again, part of me thinks I just want to completely avoid. Part of me thinks I just want to completely avoid them altogether. Crystal Palace and Munoz. But the other part of me thinks, do I also think he's one of the highest upside defenders in the game? Yeah, I also completely think that as well. I think they are also completely one of the big boys in the game that we could go for on a free hit. Let me know in the chat, guys, what you would change to this free hit team. I'm not, just a heads up, I am not fussed about being template. I personally think the free hit is a differential move in itself, and having the combination of these players is differential. I don't really think I need to be overly, I need to also be really, really differential also with players that I'm selecting. Change Gakpo for any 7.2 million player or below. Well, I don't love many. I think Marlon just suddenly is the one, but he's a lot cheaper and you are going to free up a lot of funds in your team. If we look at the actual price points going down, who gets me excited? Ismail Assar, possibly. Ismail Assar. Doku, but I'm guessing you've got triple Man City. Turkey, I just don't love the minutes. And then before you know it, really, you're coming down into these Utara, but you probably got triple Brentford. So yeah, it probably by default lands on Marlon. Spurs, I just don't know who the Spurs guy to go for is. Do I think Marlon starts? I really don't know on that one. That one is just like a huge punt again. That one is just a big punt. Do I think Dan Burn starts? I really don't know on that one. Really don't know on Dan Burn. It looks like Chow and Shah are good, and I personally think Livramento. And what's it called? Livramento and Hall are a better fullback combination than Dan Burn. I just think Newcastle have so many different ways of attacking teams when they have Livramento and Hall as opposed to Dan Burn in that team. But I appreciate Dan Burn does offer something else in those teams. So yeah, like I said, the real last debate for me in this team is I'm never picking Marlon over Rodgers, for example. I'm happy to go Gakpo because I think the minutes are good for Florian Wirtz's minutes are bad. So I think Gakpo plays. So if we just work through this team, I think for me, I think I'm just going to stick with O'Reilly. I think Cash is a lock. I think the midfield five are now pretty much locked in. I'm just going to go for those boys. And then the two up top is locked in. I don't like triple forward, sorry. Bench is what it is. I don't really care about the bench on that one. So really, like I said, with the combination, it's either Martinez and go for double Villa in that defence. And then we go for Van den Berg in defence. And we just go all in on the teams. Because my only concern here right now is that I now don't have triple Villa. So I'm not completely leaning in on that. And the Munoz one kind of feels like a bit of a hedge play. Thinking, oh, but what if they do keep a clean sheet? I'm kind of keeping them in. Marlon starts. Do not know on that one. Got super chatted from Magic Waddle FC. What a great name that is. Thank you so much, mate, on that one. Gakpo, Marlon, Szoboszlai, and Dye. Please pick an exchange for Saka. I'm up for a swap. I think Chelsea versus Arsenal will be a gritty game in the rain. Well, first, thanks so much for the super chat on that one, mate. Are you selling Saka? Can you just let me know? Don't send another super chat, obviously. Magic Waddle FC. Can you just let me know in the chat when you're saying about an exchange for Saka? Are you actually on a free hit? So just let me know firstly on that. Like, are you saying you've got Saka currently in your team? Are you looking to change that up? So just let me know on that one. Or are you talking about like selling Saka as a free transfer? I need to know the context on that one. Okay, so you're on your free hit. Okay, so yeah, if you're looking to go against Saka and you think it's going to be a big exchange, the way I'd rank it firstly is I personally would have Gakpo over Szoboszlai. I have no idea what position Szoboszlai plays. He could play right back, he could play centre mid, he could play in the 10. I think if there was clarity on Szoboszlai playing the number 10, I would probably put him right up there alongside Gakpo. But in terms of a straight comparison, I probably would have Gakpo over Szoboszlai. Does that mean he outscores Szoboszlai? No, but I just think we know exactly where Gakpo is going to play. Then in terms of Ndiaye versus Marlon, I think Ndiaye is probably the safer pick. Penalties. But do I think Newcastle are just a good team also? Yes, and I think they're stronger now with the return of, the combinations that they do have in defence. So I probably would have Marlon over Ndiaye, even though there's a real risk over Marlon. And by default, just because I do think Marlon plays 60 and Gakpo plays 75 plus, I do think I would rather lean towards the Gakpo pick personally and go in. But I totally appreciate that in a position where double Liverpool might not be the most exciting thing in the world. But thanks for the super chat, mate. If you have any kind of like extra bits you want to ask, just let me know in the chat. Don't send another super chat because that's far too generous. Louis saying, I think the first Martinez team looks better, just my opinion. Yeah, so just for context here, like the other team, and I get it, there of course is a lot of template stuff going around. It would look like this. Vandenberg, or... By the way, for people asking about Brentford defence, like, if we're just looking at their defenders, so Vandenberg is currently got, like I said, I'm not stressing about this factor, by the way. 0.16 expected goal involvement and his 9 defensive contributions. Coyote is basically nothing as well. Defensive contributions are really poor, so I'm not really considering him. And then we got Collins. Literally nothing on that, but his defensive contributions are 9.5. It's like there's nothing in it whatsoever. So someone's saying that they think there could be a chance that, you know, Salah or Gakpo is benched. Fair. Personally, I don't see it, but I get the point behind it. Otherwise, the other alternative is this, and then it gives me 0.9 where, you know, I could just, as backup, just put in Richards here. Put him in the team there, and the team looks like that. And we've got pretty much covered off then. Like, we've got a big boy in defence there, but it is what it is. But you would spend the money if you could. So the team would look like that then. Martinez, Cash, Vandenberg, O'Reilly. Like, yeah, I don't have Munoz, but do I just go all in and just kind of say, like, oh, stuff it. I'm just going to completely go against all the usual stuff and just go there. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I do feel like Munoz is like, you know, one of those that he has way more of an upside. Way more of an upside. I do believe that. I will probably have to wrap this up in a minute, guys. Only the reason being is I have got football today. I got football today, so I do need to kind of prep for that a bit later on. So we might do another 5 minutes or so, if that's okay. So if you could just pop in the usual stuff in the chat, guys, I will go through a quick fire and then we'll kind of try and wrap it up there, just because I do have to get myself going. That's all. So let's do a quick 5 minute kind of Q&A fly through on this. So Marlon over Watkins. I just can't get behind the Watkins pick myself. I just can't get behind it. Double Brentford defence or double City defence on free hit. I personally would prefer double Brentford defence because I think I'd want double Man City attack in some way. Should I put in Gakpo or Bruno? I'd put in Gakpo myself. I think Bruno's great. I do think he's great. I think he got way more points than Gakpo, avenues to points, but I also think Palace are great defensively. Sanchez, Van Dijk, Timber, Senesi, Van Heck, Saka, Mbuemo, Sarr, Rodgers. Triple Captain Haaland, any suggestions? I think the team looks pretty good. I think the team looks pretty damn good, to be honest with you. If you wanted to make a transfer, Timber, Senesi, I don't think you need a defensive transfer. The only thing you could do is possibly... No, I think your team looks great. I'm going to be honest. I think your team looks really good. I think you're forcing transfers if you want to. Like, you could bring in Doku, but do you want him long term? Vandenberg over Collins, it's just literally like I have no idea what I'd want to do. Really confused about this, lol. Let me know, mate, on that one. Really want a Marlon leak. I think we all do on that one. Best 5.9 million midfielder. I think Marlon, if you want to go there, is great. No worries, John, at all. Are you not tempted by Marlon? Not right now, no. You're not going for Munoz no more. Currently, I said all week that I want to go against the Palace game. So I need to stick by my word. And I think I'm just going to go for this. I can't get behind Van Dijk. I just will be so angry at myself if I put him in and they just do concede. And it's just been like, well, they've been crap for so long defensively. I don't think Liverpool have been terrible offensively, just to say. I think Liverpool have been terribly defensively, and that's kind of obviously affected their outcomes. But I think they've been okay in the final third. I think they've been fine-ish on the numbers. Gakpo, Bruno, I mean, Usually I would say Bruno. Yes, Ollie, I will update on the WhatsApp probably in the next 10 minutes with my final team. Definitely take Salah out, and then you can have Martinez and Munoz. Yeah, I can, but I just want to go Salah. I want to go Salah and hope for the best. Worth to go Pope to Donnarumma for a -4. Already done my 2 transfers, seeing and stuff there. Well, if Pope is obviously not playing, do you have a backup goalkeeper ready? Because then the backup can help you. I don't love Donnarumma for a -4 unless your backup goalkeeper literally doesn't play. The best 7.1 million midfielder, well, I think Sade for a 1-week punt is right up there. I've got a back 5 on free hit of triple Villa defence, double Brentford, O'Reilly. Gravenberch, Foden, not sure who the third. I mean, it is differential, and I don't hate it. Same as you, bar VVD, Collins, Marlin. Yeah, don't mind that. Foden or Thiago for this week? I mean, probably Thiago. Foden or Thiago for this week? I've cut that one. Sorry, I just read my own thing. My team is Donnarumma, Senesi, Saliba, VVD, Bruno Sarr. People asking about, is it better to free hit or triple captain? I would recommend going to the start of the thing, just because I went in really detail on why you should. And it's very difficult for me to sit here and say, you got a free hit or you got a triple captain. It comes down to what your preference is on that one. I think anybody who says to you, do just free hit, I think it's probably being a little bit, not insensitive, but they're just kind of just saying it just to give you an answer. I'm going to be honest, the free hit is all about a gut feeling because, like I said, I've free hitted and I'm taking on Arsenal, Semenyo, all these big ownerships. And that just comes down to whether you agree with it or not. I don't think anyone telling you it's the right answer is being truthful, if I'm honest. Kath is saying how to join the WhatsApp. That's over on Patreon. So if you set up on the Patreon, then you join the WhatsApp group where I just kind of like answer any individual questions and reveal my final team. Gravenberch, yeah, I would say to you, is Szoboszlai maybe available for you? Covered that one. Munoz or Gakpo for the free hit. I've gone for Gakpo if that helps at all. I would not be picking an Arsenal defender over Cash on a free hit, personally. Are you intending of playing a very safe free hit because why not back an entire defence? I think there are not enough teams who I don't want to have one of their attackers. Villa, I want to piece their attack, so I can't triple up. Brentford, I want to piece their attack, so I can't go triple defence. That's the main reason why I'm not. Bowen is differential free hit. I don't hate it. If you said to me it's up against Liverpool, I'd probably go, what the hell? But it kind of doesn't sound terrible. Right, I'm unfortunately going to have to wrap it up, guys, because I haven't got to do a TikTok live, and I've also got to get to football. I can't be late because I'm getting fined heavily already. So we're going to have to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you want to join the WhatsApp, you can head over to Patreon and check it out and join Patreon, which then you get a link. What is it? Basically, if you search up Patreon and then FPL Fan Show, you'll find it there. You can check it out if you want to, but I appreciate that is not for everybody. So we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Have an amazing day. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll see you. Christ, I'm going to have to do like a Tuesday night stream, aren't I? If I finish work in time, I'll do a live stream. But oh boy, it's going to be a tight turnaround with everything. So yeah, it'll be a lot of quick videos. I'll probably drop a transfer plans video Sunday, video Monday, team selection Tuesday morning, live stream Tuesday evening. Something like that, Tuesday afternoon, if I finish work in time. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Have a good one. This is where we're currently at. Let's see how it goes. Fingers crossed. Take care, guys. Have an amazing one. Have a great weekend. Don't let FPL ruin your weekend. And I'll see you next.